the war did have an impact on all of us, and we were aware of it no matter at what age. As I had mentioned, we published The Scoop and had our special edition. Before that, there were socials and picnics, benefit for the Bundles for Britain. During the war, because we were on the West Coast, and the Japanese did fire a couple of shells down in Santa Barbara, I believe. We were concerned about the Japanese, and we all had plywood on our windows. There was a gas rationing, of course, and lights were such that you would have a exposure of about the size of a Band-Aid for your lights. They weren't for the purpose of seeing, but to avoid other cars, basically. There were canned goods that were rationed. We were aware of that. My father went, he was not in the service, but he went to Yankee Point to observe aircraft, foreign aircraft as they came in. Well, when they get as far as Yankee Point, I'm not sure you could do much about them. But it was a good place to go and play pinochle with his group. And that was one impact. The other was, there was surprisingly little impact as far as journalism was concerned, except for the Monterey Peninsula Herald. The three newspapers in Carmel at that particular time, I think it became two at that time, said nothing about the war. Poetry, local advertising, social events, and never one thing about the war. Except you knew about the war because social events, there would be Colonel and Mrs. So-and-so, and Admiral and so-and-so. So if you put that together, you would know of a military presence. And there were other observation points. The 7th hole, which goes out to the point in Pebble Beach, there was an observation post there, right where the golf course is. And later on, during the latter part of the war, I was a service station attendant, and they wanted to talk to me about how things are going at Carmel so that I would squeeze a little more gas, in the tank. My impression of the military presence on the Del Monte on the Pebble Beach golf course, the sixth hole and so on, was an observation post. There may have been guns there. I don't know. If they were certainly light in caliber. During the war, we did fear impending invasion. And that's why we had plywood over our windows, so that, if there were bombing or artillery shells or something like that, that would take care of it. Mm-hmm. These observation posts that we had were not only for airplanes, but to see if Japanese warships would be there. Mm-hmm. We did have the fear of that, particularly in the early part of the war, when we didn't have a fleet. Mm-hmm. That would be 42, perhaps.